He was not a chief in title, but in presence, in purpose, in the unwavering silence of his defiance. He was greater than any elected by vote or crowned by conquest. His name, like his path, was forged in resistance to Sunkewitko, Crazy Horse, a name whispered not with awe alone, but with warning, as if to say, "This man will not yield." In the time before the railroads carved the land like scars and treaties shriveled like brittle leaves under boot, he was born beneath a sky that still belonged to the Lakota. They say he came during a storm, sometime around 1840, when lightning painted visions across the heavens and the winds carried songs of the ancestors through the tall grass of the Powder River country. His people, the Oglala, watched the boy with curiosity. He did not play as others did. He stood apart, quiet, observant, seeing more than was spoken. His hair was lighter than most, his skin paler, and his eyes held a kind of steady storm. His birth name was Cha-Oha, or Among the Trees, but that would change, as all things do when destiny begins to stir beneath the skin. His father, also called Crazy Horse, was a respected shaman, a man of visions and ceremony, and his mother, Rattling Blanket Woman, was known for her fierce spirit and generosity. From them, he inherited something deeper than instruction, a spiritual thread tied to the land, to dreams, to something larger than mere survival. When he was 12, he saw soldiers for the first time, and something inside him hardened. That same year, he witnessed the killing of a Lakota man by white settlers, and though the elders spoke of peace, of patience, a seed had been planted that would grow wild and unbroken. In his youth, he was not one for long speeches or ceremonial dances. He was a hunter, a rider of unmatched grace, a warrior who fought not for glory, but for preservation. There was no vanity in him, no feathers, no war paint. On the battlefield, he dressed plainly, bare chest, single hawk feather, a stone behind his ear, and lightning streaks on his cheeks when the moment demanded it. These were not ornaments, they were symbols, protection, intent. His visions were not mere dreams, they were declarations. One such vision, given to him during a rite of passage, showed a rider moving through a hail of bullets, untouched, invincible not through power, but through purpose. He believed that if he lived purely, without greed or pride, he could not be harmed, and for a time it seemed true. As the 1850s bled into the 1860s, and the land filled with the endless creep of settlers and soldiers, Crazy Horse found his purpose as a protector, not of empire, but of a way of life. He first made his name at the Fetterman Fight in 1866. It was called the Battle of the Hundred in the Hands by the Lakota, a name truer to its weight. Under the command of Red Cloud, Crazy Horse devised a ruse that lured Captain Fetterman and 80 soldiers into an ambush. Not one survived. The snow-covered hills bore silent witness to the power of resistance, and from then on, Crazy Horse was marked, not just by the army, but by legend. Yet he remained elusive, a ghost on the plains. He would ride into the storm, strike with precision, and vanish like wind through cottonwood. He was not a man of politics. He spurned the councils, refused to sign treaties, declined to visit Washington, or trade words with the white men in coats. He believed that speaking with them was speaking into a void. They came with pens and promises, and always left with more land and less truth. While others traveled east to plead for their people, Crazy Horse stayed west to fight for them. In 1875, when the U.S. government ordered all Lakota bands to report to reservations or be considered hostile, he did not waver. The Black Hills, Paha Sapa, were sacred. They were not for sale. And when gold was found there, and the land swarmed with miners and cavalry, Crazy Horse stood with Sitting Bull, Gall, and others to resist the coming tide. The summer of 1876 would mark the height of his legend. June 25th, the Battle of the Little Bighorn. Custer, proud and reckless, led his men into a valley thick with warriors. Crazy Horse led the charge that collapsed the cavalry's flank, riding as his vision foretold, untouched in the chaos, his horse flowing like smoke over the hills. Eyewitnesses later said he rode without fear, as if he were already beyond the reach of death. It was a rare moment of victory, but even then, Crazy Horse knew it would not last. The United States, humiliated and vengeful, would return in force. The people were scattered, food was scarce, ammunition ran low. The winter of 1877 came with no kindness. His people, starving and hunted, turned to him for guidance. He could not feed them with bravery alone. In the end, it was not surrender but preservation that guided his hand. In May of 1877, he rode into Fort Robinson under a white flag, his head unbowed. But the old ways could not survive in the shadow of forts and fences. They say betrayal often comes not from enemies, but from those who fear you. He was arrested later that summer under false accusations. Planning an uprising, they said. His own people, under pressure and suspicion, were part of it. On September 5th, 1877, Crazy Horse was taken to a cell. When he resisted, when he realized the trap, a soldier's bayonet pierced his side. They say he died without a sound. His father later said he died with his heart full of honor. No one knows where his body lies. His family hid it, buried him in a secret place so the land could keep him, so no white man's map could claim him. In this, too, he won. For Crazy Horse was not meant to be displayed in marble or buried beneath flag. He was not a man of nation-states or treaties, but of wind and earth, of memory and myth. He never signed his name to their paper. He never rode east to beg. He never surrendered, not in spirit, not in soul. Even now, his shadow rides across the plains. A monument rises in the Black Hills, still unfinished, carved not by government decree, but by the will of the people. It is massive, defiant, slow to take form, just like the man it honors. Crazy Horse's story is not clean. It is not polished or easy. It is raw, carved from betrayal and bravery, a reminder of what was taken and what refused to be erased. He remains a symbol, not just of resistance, but of integrity, of a man who walked into history without compromise, who said, with action, if not with words, "My lands are where my dead lie buried." And so he lies somewhere beneath the stars, beneath the sacred hills, not conquered, not forgotten, not ever. If Crazy Horse's story moved you, if his courage, his silence, his unwavering spirit still echoes in your heart, then help us keep his legacy alive. Give this video a like so more people can discover the truth behind the myth. Subscribe to the channel for more stories of those history tried to bury, but memory refuses to forget. And in the comments below, tell us, what does Crazy Horse's defiance mean to you? Your voice keeps history breathing.